Hi, I'm Royce Hong. I'm a designer and an entrepreneur. I run two companies. One is called iPivo. iPivo is based in Sunnyvale, California and Taipei, Taiwan. iPivo makes interactive education tools for teachers and schools. And another company that's based in Taiwan is called Zing Mobility. Zing develops cutting-edge electric vehicle technology from building race cars. Well, as with a lot of boys, I was very interested in with cars. I'm a car enthusiast. I still am, and it's because of cars that I got interested in design, because I want to know how cars work, why they look the way they do, how they drive the way they. So design for me, it's actually a combination of engineering and aesthetics, and how you put everything together. Upon starting design, I'm an industrial designer, or essentially that means a product designer. What the industrial designer does is actually to find a problem around you, and to create a solution, a product that solves that problem. So this is essentially what a designer does, is you look around and constantly thinking what can things be better, can be made easier, can help you finish the task better, and to put that into action and make that a reality. Well, being an entrepreneur, I think it's actually very similar to a designer. The entrepreneur also sees a problem, a need in the society, in the market, and to create a business out of it is actually to create a solution for people. So entrepreneur actually takes what designer does and make it into a business. So I think if you you're a designer long enough, you will sort of think in an entrepreneurial way, and then I guess I start my own companies that way. Well, if you are interested in design, I suggest you, what I did when I was in high school was to go out and actually talk to a designer, a real product designer, and ask them about their job, how they get to where they are, and what they're concerned about, what's their daily life like. And I think if you don't know exactly what you want to do, you find multiple professions that you're interested in, and reach out to them and ask them for their advice. You might think that I don't know any designer, or I don't know any engineers that I can talk to, but I think just reach out, just look them up, reach out. I mean, even a cold call. People usually love to talk to kids. Love to give you their advice, and they love to share what they think and their experiences. So don't be afraid to reach out. I think there are two parts to be an entrepreneur or a designer. One part is finding the problem. Um, the world is as chaotic, as unreasonable as it is. There are so many things around us, and so many problems around us. But the problems, I think, are actually opportunities to create, to innovate. So as an entrepreneur or even a designer, you look for problems. And the best way to look for problems is actually to experience something. I mean, go to experience, you drive to a really bad traffic, and you think about how you can improve the traffic flow. You you go to tasted a very terrible lunch. You think about how you can improve that experience. So that is one way to find a problem. Another part of this is to find a creative solution, an innovative solution to become the savior. I mean, to make the problem something that opportunity to improve, and that's when creativity comes into play. To think outside of the box, to think of something that a way to solve it that has not been done before. So that is I think that the job is in two parts. One is to find a problem, and then the next one is to find a solution, and a creative solution that solves the problem. Uh, there are many you see many types of problems all around us, and how would it become a business? Is a problem valid enough? The thing is, we don't know. It's not something that I'm not a fortune teller. But I think the way that I pick an area that or a problem that I want to solve actively is that it's a problem that I'm passionate about, that I'm personally invested in, that I would spend 18 hours a day for the next 7 days a week for the next 2 years or 3 years or 10 years to try to solve this problem. And so I think the answer to the question is to find something that you're really, really passionate about personally. Uh, the difference between a designer and an entrepreneur, I think a designer usually are handed a problem to solve. Say to design a product that a cell phone that can do this and that, or a car that can go off road on road. Um, but an entrepreneur is the person that actually defines the problem for a designer to solve. And you see this problem, you define it, and then you see opportunity, and then you give it to the designer to use the creativity to solve the problem. And I think that's when a designer moves from just a mere designer to a good designer, is that he starts to think about a unique take on the problems that he or she sees. And to move on to be entrepreneur is to look at the world around him, and then to find out to find the problems that are strategic to solve. I mean, that has opportunity to make a big impact. Let's do this exercise. This is pretty interesting. You all have a phone, a smartphone, and you all use apps. So everybody knows apps. There's an app for everything, right? So what I want you to do is to think about your daily life, any problems that you might have that you think you can solve with an app, and then come up with the app and tell us how it's going to solve the problem that you have. For instance, um, I have a hard time getting up in the morning. How can I design a better alarm clock as an app? So this second exercise that you could do is actually pretty interesting. You will see two boxes, and along each team, or each of you, each team, to pick one piece of paper out of each box, and one box will be logos of famous brands that you're very familiar with, such as Apple and Nestle and other things, McDonald's. The other box are products, and I want you to match the products with whatever branding that you pick, and then you'll probably get a McDonald's sports car. And this is the exercise, is to create a product. You want to tell us what this product is going to be like, how much you'll sell for, and what its main feature is, what the marketing slogan will be. And this is how you think outside the box. So putting two and two, something that's totally unrelated, and you create something that's completely new. Actually, when you're presenting your ideas, you gotta keep in mind that there are no bad ideas. Every crazy idea it could be a spark for the next good idea that works. So what I want you to do is to talk about your project, your app, or your product, your idea, and describe it to the group, and then get feedback. See what people think, and does this spark? Does it let them think of their own problems? Does it help them with what they're seeing in their lives today? And to get feedback, and to work from there. great designs usually comes from different, many iterations. Usually it does not come out on first try. So, it's actually hard work, and you get people's opinion, and you look at the product, and then you try out in person. And if it doesn't work, go back, figure out what's wrong, and then try to fix it. So iteration after iteration, eventually you'll come up with a good solution, great design, and good product. Uh, Iteration is revisions or additions of the same idea. So sort of idea that evolves. So I always think that an idea, a design idea, is alive, that it grows. So for it to grow, you got to feed it with food, and the food is actually people's feedback and the improvements that you make to the design. So that's also a very important part of the design process. Actually, I think iterations after iterations. Sometimes you have certain criterias, right? If you finally met that criteria in terms of three areas, one is you technology feasibility. Technology-wise, it works. I mean, you can produce it. The next area is sort of a market feasibility. You know, you figure out the market. You think there's enough need for that, and then there's a user feasibility. That is something that it really solves the problem. It actually helps the user. So all things together combined, and plus a little elbow grease, a little bit of leap of faith, you think you have a product that's ready for the market. My design training after high school actually started in the States. I went to Rhode Island School of Design to study industrial design. And then after that, I actually applied to another design school, Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California, to study graphic design. And at the time when I was going to school, uh, some internet and computers weren't that popular yet, so there's no such thing as an interactive design. So after I graduated, that was when internet and web is just booming. I thought industrial design, product design is something that's about usability, about actual physical objects that solves problems. Graphic design is sort of more of a emotional side. You communicate with people through visually. And I thought put two and two together, you have this new field called interactive design that I can apply skills from industrial design, product design, and graphic design into this new field. So that worked out perfectly for me. And then, but now I'm back in actual physical products, sort of a combination integration of uh, physical object, designing physical objects, and interactive software and user experiences. Well, I think it all started from a sort of a central idea that we believe that technology should make things easier, cheaper, simpler for people, not to complicate things. And this problem that we see in education in the past decade is that, as you can see, just classrooms are using a lot of technology, document cameras, visualizers, interactive whiteboards. But these products are usually very expensive, very complicated, and very bulky and cumbersome. So from the belief that technology should make things simple and accessible and affordable, that we start to look at these different products, and then to see the ways how we can really use design to make it affordable and simple and usable. So we created this document camera first, which usually costs around 800 to 1200 US dollars. We use a different product strategy, and we really simplified the product. We made it to be under $100 in price. So that actually caught on with a lot of teachers. And we use the same philosophy at IPEVO to make product outside of not just document cameras, interactive whiteboard systems, and other interactive classroom equipments. that under the same principle and provided to all the teachers. Where IPEVO's products are currently in use in over 60% of public schools, K-12 in America. My latest startup, it's called Zing Mobility. It actually feeds back to why I became a designer. It's all stemmed from my interest in cars. So I've been a car enthusiast all my life, and but I've never actually dared to dream that I would actually design my own car, let alone run a sports car company myself. But the opportunity sort of came along when, as you can see, electric cars are getting more and more popular. In fact, I think electric cars will be the mainstream in the next few years. And what it also did is that it leveled the playing field. In the past, when you're making a combustion engine, gasoline-powered car, the engine technology, the whole car system is so complicated that it's made it impossible for the small guys to build a car company. But electric vehicle made things so simple. I mean that because of our electronic expertise, we're able to build our own car. So Zing Mobility is a company that is only 2 years old, and it's mainly based out in Taipei and Taiwan. And we are building race cars, electric race cars, and extreme performance cars, what people call hypercar or supercar, with electric power. We just launched the first hypercar, the first sort of a dual-purpose crossover supercar in April. That is, it has 4 motors, 4-wheel drive, and it's capable of producing 1 megawatt of power, which is equivalent to 1,341 horsepower. It's only twice as much as what a Lamborghini makes. Yeah. So, but for Zing Mobility, it is not really just the supercar, the race car that we're building and selling. The technology that you see in the supercar, such as the battery system or the electric motors and drivetrain and transmission gearbox, all these are meant to be going into the school buses, the cement trucks, the farm equipment or construction equipment that you see around us. So the real business for Zing Mobility is to take the technology, use the supercars and race cars to develop technology, electric vehicle technology that can be applied for commercial and industrial vehicles of the future. So that's what we're doing. Which is my Juno.
把一个 idea 一个理想变成一个现实生活里面可以拿在手上的一个东西。So we would like to urge everyone to reach out and make connections